Welcome, everyone. We're glad that you've joined our virtual family engagement session. When families and educators join forces, amazing things happen in the lives of students. As part of our Cumberland County Schools strategic plan, we launched Cumberland Family Academy during the 2020-2021 school year. Since launching Family Academy, we have continued to listen to families to create innovative ways for them to receive information and resources to support their children. Tonight, I am very excited to present our CFA session, which is live today, to talk about our families and to talk about the Alongside app for Cumberland County School students. 1 month after the launch, this revolutionary Alongside mental health support app has been designed to support our students in grades 6 through 12 throughout our school system. Alongside is a valuable addition to the district's robust student support resources, and it's designed to complement traditional methods rather than replace them. Let's start by meeting our panelists tonight, who will share their perspectives on how this Alongside app can enhance our students' well-being. First, we have Dr. Natasha Scott, our Executive Director of Student Services at Cumberland County Schools.
Hello.
We're also fortunate to have Ms. Jean Thomas, a Jack Britt High School social worker. We also have Ms. Margaret Leviner, a counselor at Max Abbott Middle School. We have Mrs. Angel Walters, a CCS parent. And we also have Mr. Dallas Daniels, a student from Southview High School. They will be sharing insight on the Alongside app. Tonight, we want to begin this conversation, so please post your comments in the chat. We want this to be a collaborative conversation. So if you have questions for the panelists as we begin to discuss this very important topic, please list them in the chat. The presenters will answer some of the questions throughout tonight's session. Okay, so let's kick things off. I'll go ahead and hand it off to Dr. Scott to give us a brief overview of the Alongside app. Dr. Scott.
All right, so thank you for having me, and also thank you for offering this very important session where we'll have an opportunity to tell the people a little bit about what's going on with Alongside. So some of you may be wondering, what is Alongside? So it's an app that students can use either on their computer or on their phone. And it's where students can receive immediate mental health support. It's available 24/7. Students can also receive that support in their native language. One of the things that's very interesting about Alongside is that it uses a chat bot named Kiwi. Kiwi is extremely cute. I can't wait for you to see him. And when talking with Kiwi, he can provide personalized support that is actually developed by a team of doctoral clinicians. So there are multiple things that students can do inside of the app. And so they can journal. The app provides several prompts that they can write about, or they can determine what their own prompt will be. They can also watch helpful videos about all kinds of things from grief to issues with a peer, how to do breathing exercises. So there are just lots of videos that they can watch. They can also get help from Kiwi with setting goals for improvement, and they can also track their mood. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about the mood tracker in just a moment. That's a new feature. And then last but not least, I'd also just add that, because you may be wondering about this, what happens when students are talking about severe issues like child abuse or suicide? And that does come up in the app, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that later too, about what happens. But when that comes up, it's escalated to someone at the school building during the school day. But if it's after hours, there are 24/7 resources that they're referred to. So now I want to talk with you about, on the next slide, I want to talk with you about some of the new features that are in the Alongside app. So one is the mood tracker. So the mood tracker, what's neat about that is students can go to the mood tracker and they can share how they're feeling that day. They can talk about their physical activity. They can talk about their sleep habits, if they have been doing any exercise, all of those things, they can track that information with Kiwi, and they can look at a calendar and they can see, for 30 days at a time, they can look at it and see what their mood has been like over the course of the month. Another thing that I really like about the app is that students can also request a meeting or send a message directly to their counselor. Now, we say their counselor, but I think I should also say their school support team, because when they send that message, there are multiple people that actually receive that response. And that's just to make sure that we get the information and that it doesn't go ignored. And then last but not least, when students are journaling and doing certain activities in the app, they can decide if they want to share that information with their school support team. And if they do, we see that information and can respond to them. So on the next slide, I'm going to talk specifically about what happens if it's a severe issue. I know this is of utmost importance to parents and young people as well. Alongside is an app, but we still have a responsibility to keep students safe. And Kiwi has that same responsibility as well. So severe issues, again, would be like child abuse, homicide, suicide, ideations, having thoughts about either of those things. So again, if it happens during the school day, then there is an alert that will go to the building principal along with staff here at the central office like myself. I am a social worker by training, and my colleagues who are also counselors and social workers, we receive an alert on our cell phone, a text, so that we will know to go into the app and find out who is this student and what's happening. The principal also receives that alert so that the principal knows to again, make sure that the counselor and social worker at that school will actually follow up with that student. And as we receive those alerts, then the school staff are the folks who will actually reach out to the parent. We're not going to leave the parent out of the loop. The first alert comes to us as a school staff. We reach out to the parent. We also reach out to the student. And we reach out to the parent whether that severe alert comes in during the school day or if it happens during the weekend. Either way, we reach out. In the app itself, Kiwi is able to administer what we call the Columbia Suicide Screener. And that's some of the information that he uses. And in addition to that, he also prevents the student with resources like 988. And so the student has the opportunity to either make a phone call or to text 988, which is the National Crisis Lifeline that's available 24/7, 365. So that is always available. And you don't have to be in the app to utilize that resource. So a combination of resources are provided to the student, but also reaching out to the staff so that we can also talk with the student and the parent and make sure that the student is safe at all times.
Wow, thank you so much for that, Dr. Scott. I'm very excited about the Alongside app and really just the additional resources that we have for our students. And so you've really given us a good overview of the app. And so my first question is, where'd y'all get this idea from? Like what, where did this, I did not see this coming. Like whose brainchild was this, and what's the why behind this app? Like where did it come from?
I do think that the Alongside app is a game changer and that it's really unique. I even like the name of it, Alongside. It's meant to work alongside the counselor and the social worker. It does not replace the human connection. This is not about children sitting and talking to ChatGPT or AI. It's really not. It's just meant to be one more tool to provide an immediate response to students until we can get to them. There are some things that students can work out on their own, and they should, and there are other things that they definitely need to speak to someone, which is why Kiwi is sending that alert to school staff, and we are, working really, really hard to get to that student immediately. But how did we find out about this? So last summer, I had the pleasure of attending the National School Counselors Conference in Atlanta. And I happened to be sitting outside of the conference. It was really cold inside, and I was just trying to warm up and take in some sun rays. And I was sitting on, I was just kind of like sitting outside, and a guy walked by with a shirt with a llama on it, and it said, "Talk to the llama," and kind of like the shirt that Dallas has on here on our panel. And this was Scott Frechette. Scott Frechette works for Alongside, and I commented on the shirt, and he stopped and he began to tell me about the app and what it did. I was intrigued by it. I asked him to schedule a meeting with me in the next week or two, and he did. I invited my colleagues to, I had a good picture of it based on his description. They gave us a demo and let us try it out. They had a meeting with us and walked us through it and asked us, let us ask lots of questions about it. And from there, we thought, we think they're onto something, and we think that our kids would like it. And so then from there, we had principals to try it out. And then principals thought we were onto something, but we were all kind of like, well, we're old and we like it. Does that mean that young people won't like it? So the principal said, we think you should get some kids, some young people to try it out. And so we found a group of young people, and they amened it, they blessed it, they said it was a good thing. And so we just kind of kept the ball rolling from there.
Well, that's simply amazing. When I think about it, it's very innovative. And if you're like me, I like trying new things, but I'm also kind of waiting for other people to try it first to
Yes.
just make sure it's okay. And so I know that there's probably some parents out there, they're wondering, should I sign my child up for this? Should I give them permission? So I know Ms. Walters, from the parents' perspective, what would be your message to them? Why should they consider signing their child up for such an app?
Well, just with any other parent, I would always tell them, do your research. Look into it. I'm big on reviews. I like to talk to other people, find out what other people think about it. And my child was part of that demo team. So when he was trying it out, we talked about it. We went ahead and tried the app. And then I asked him, I said, tell me honestly, what did you think? And he was like, well, Kiwi's cute, and I really like talking to Kiwi. I didn't know if Kiwi was a boy or girl. We just kind of made our own little assumption there. But the more he got into it and the more that he played around with it, I didn't press, I didn't ask, what are you talking about? What's going on? I just said, just tell me how you feel. And I think that that's important that you need to do as a parent, talk to your child, have that open conversation and say, tell me what you think. Because if they want to try it out, I would say go ahead and let them do that. And have trust in the district that they're doing what's best for our children. They want to go ahead and open another resource tool, make another resource available to them, because you can't have too many. As parents, we put trust in so many things that our children have access to, and we want them to be able to come to us and talk to us, but we have to know that there are times that they want to talk to somebody else, and this is just another tool in that toolbox.
Good deal. And that's what I like, is it's another tool. So it's not the only thing. We still have counselors, we have social workers, we have an entire team of supporters who are trying to help our students be successful. And so this is another tool. And so it's like, try it. It may work for you.
Can I tell you something that a young person said to me at church about the app? And I thought this was kind of mind-blowing, or out of the mouths of babes. It was, Miss Natasha, I don't see what the big deal is. Our parents have more control over this app than any other app that we're downloading and using all of the time, because it's provided by the school district, because someone from school can reach out if someone is doing something unsafe. Essentially, she was saying that there were a lot of safeguards and things that parents would know about what's happening with the Alongside app that they typically wouldn't know about. And she was, just kind of showing with her phone. I download apps and log on to them all the time that my parent may or may not know about. And this one, you're given permission, the district is giving you lots of information, and you just have a lot of control over this particular app that they don't have with anything else. And so I thought she kind of nailed it as she was just kind of sharing her insight and I was listening. Of course, I did reiterate that the importance of parent involvement, and you just need that, that's an absolute. But I just thought that she did a great job of summarizing, kind of to Ms. Walters' point about, trusting the district, but also just knowing like we got guardrails up, so we can do what parents would want us to do for the
Yeah.
students.
Well, if you're just joining us, we're here tonight talking about the new Alongside app that we have here in Cumberland County Schools. We're really working to provide every tool possible to support the well-being of our students. Now, I really want to hear from the student services perspective and really at the school level. So as we begin to think about how the app is actually being used and just learn about how it's supporting our students, Ms. Leviner, can you just share specific examples of how you have seen from the school's perspective how the Alongside app has positively impacted students?
Yeah, so actually just over spring break, we had a student who was using the app and it alerted us. Now, I don't get the alerts, the supervisors do, of course, but they immediately started texting our phones and contacting everybody in the department. My county supervisor was texting me about a student, and that student happened to be on my caseload. So I was already aware and already had a relationship, of course, with that student, but I hadn't had the chance or the opportunity to talk to that parent. So to make sure the child was okay and to make sure everything was okay, I contacted the parent, and it was at 9:00 at night. But I did call and I said, this is Miss Leviner from Max Hampton Middle School. And she was like, okay, and just kind of like, why are you calling me? It's a Thursday on spring break. And she was just saying, I was explaining to her, what the alert that we got and everything like that. And she was so appreciative because she had no idea. She was so appreciative that I took the time to take the time out of my break essentially to call, but to also just to make sure that not only was the student okay, but was she okay? What do you need? And so it kind of helped develop that relationship with the parent, start that relationship with the parent. And then she's actually, since we've gotten back at school, she sent me a text and said, this is what I'm doing. And what do you think about this? And, asking about resources. And essentially that's what we're supposed to do. So even when we can't be there with them in the building, there's also a place for them to go through the app to have that support when they're having thoughts, or having something that's going on, or just having a time where they don't necessarily feel like they can just go to their parent, because the parent was said, I was just eating dinner with that student, at the table. And I was like, sometimes, we're in middle school, we don't always know how to talk to our parents. And so it just helped bridge that gap with the relationship between the student and the parent, and then also with us at the school. So everything was just a positive thing. It wasn't, the parent was so appreciative. I was thankful the student was okay. And it was just a way to just kind of keep the communication going and keep the support going, even if now that we're back in the building.
Thank you for sharing that example. I think that's an excellent example of how the tool seamlessly aligns with our student services staff members. It's not just about putting students on technology, but it's about connecting all of the dots and really just providing those wraparound services.
Yep.
Dr. Scott, I think this is a great teachable moment. I know she talked about getting that alert. So now, can you clarify that a little bit? Every time a child gets on the Alongside app, their parent won't get an alert, right? Can you talk about when that happens and how that process works?
So the only time we receive an alert is when a student is talking about something that refers to harm of someone, either themselves or someone else. So those are the only times that we receive those alerts because safety is a priority. So, and most students are accustomed to when they, in their schools, when they go to the counselor or the social worker's office, many of them have a sign on their wall that says, what you say here stays here unless you're hurting somebody or someone is hurting you. When you start chatting with Kiwi, Kiwi uses those exact same rules. And so safety is number one. So if you're in there talking about your homework assignment, are not gonna see what you're saying, young people. We're not gonna see what you're saying about your homework assignment, or I don't like my teacher. We're not gonna see all of that. My mama made me mad, you know. We're not gonna receive those kinds of alerts. We're not gonna pull that kind of information and contact a parent. We are only seeing the information that is tied to someone's actual safety. And it is absolutely our job to keep kids safe. That's our number one priority. So that's a secret that we're never gonna keep, and we don't keep secrets anyway, but that's the only thing that we see. The only other scenario for complete transparency is if a student decides that they want to share something. So there are some students that are journaling, or they're working on goals for a project and they just want something shared. I received an alert just the other day, and this teacher wanted to know why that they had done all of their assignments, but their grade had not changed, and they wanted some assistance speaking to their teacher to find out what was happening with their grade. And that alert, for whatever reason, it came to the district office and the school. And do you know, we contacted the school to find out, walk down there and find out why the teacher hasn't changed this kid's grade, because he wants to know, and we like how proactive this young person is being. So unless the student actually decides that they want to share something with us, we're only gonna see the things that are tied to their safety or someone else's safety. So we can't see all of your business, and we don't have enough time to read all of the things. I'm gonna show y'all later that there have already been like over 1,000 activities completed in Alongside. We don't have the manpower or the time to even read everything. That's part of Kiwi's job, is to filter out for us the stuff that we need to follow up on. And again, that is somebody's hurting you or you're hurting somebody else, you know, that kind of thing. Just only safety issues.
Thank you for that clarification. I think with anything new, it's just good to really explain that, because I know that has been a question I've received. You know, will everyone know my business? If I'm talking to Kiwi, what things will be shared, what things won't be shared? So thank you for that clarification. Now, Ms. Thomas, we didn't forget about you. We want to hear from your perspective. Like, what are you hearing from students in terms of their experience with the Alongside app?
And due to being such a new program, I think they're really tapping into, there's no subject that they can't kind of find out about. Should it be relationship with a boy, or a friend relationship, or, you know, dealing with anxiety? We see a lot of that at school. So kids then have that access to a lot of videos and extra help for them to find the resources and extra things that they have never thought about before, possibly using to help them with their struggles. So that's a lot of the positive feedback we're getting at this point of just, I don't think there's anything I haven't had an answer to when I talked about it. So it's been great.
That's awesome. Now, we want to go to our Facebook audience. We have some questions. I always get excited when people ask questions, so y'all get ready. So the first one's for you, Dr. Scott. It's kind of a hard question. I hope you're ready.
Kiwi.
Where's Kiwi? Where's Kiwi? So will this app ever be available for elementary school students, perhaps the upper grades?
You know what? Okay. That's a good question.
That's a good question. I want to know.
Question.
I'm
That's
gonna
a
sip
good
my
question.
tea. I want to know.
Sip the tea, honey, sip the tea. So when we saw the app, the way Kiwi looks, and just, it was so next level, we actually thought long and hard, and we really wanted to make it available to elementary students, right? Particularly we saw the videos and just the way it was set up. But then the more we looked at it and demoed it, and then when we realized that the developer developed this tool for teenagers, it was not developed with young children in mind. We also looked to see what other districts were doing, and there's, of all of the school districts that are using Alongside, they only had one school that is trying it out with elementary students. So kind of to your point before about sometimes we like to let other people try it out first.
Good answer.
You know, and we also talked about how like fourth and fifth graders now, if I think back of across my 25 years in the school district, fourth and fifth graders now look more like what middle schoolers used to look like, the way they act and talk and feel. You know, they are so much more developed and knowledgeable. However, we still kind of fell back on the fact that, but the developer designed this product with teenagers in mind. And so when we, as much as we wanted to try it, we kept kind of falling back on that. We also looked at the fact that the developer also has an advisory group of teenagers. So they are using research that is designed around, you know, late adolescence, teenage years, and they're also using teenagers to design and inform what goes into the app. And so we thought that it was best for us to just stick with that middle and high school age group, but to look very hard and begin to see, but what are some things that are out there that we could provide specifically for elementary students? And maybe on another show, I do have something that we are gonna bring this year, next school year, for elementary students. It is not an app, but we do know that our elementary children do have things that they need to talk about and struggles that they're working through. And we do feel like we need more stuff for them. And so I do have a new program come August.
Right, so stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
You heard it here first.
And I stay needing money, so keep asking questions so I can keep buying stuff for elementary children and high school and middle school.
So this one is back to you as well, Dr. Scott. Another one. You're popular tonight.
Kiwi.
Why are parents not the number one option for escalation? How can parents be assured that they are reached out to? Is it based on trust that counselors, administration, school workers, et cetera, will do so?
Okay, so this is the hard question. It has multiple layers to it. So the first thing I would say, the question about that I heard the most is how can we trust? Because orange is not my color. That's number one. We are all here. So in all seriousness, as counselors, social workers, and psychologists, we work by a code of ethics. And part of that code of ethics is about keeping folks safe and not doing any harm. And it's tied to our license. And our license is tied to our livelihood. So we're in this job because we're for the purpose of assisting people, you know, empowering people. So we're gonna do the right thing because that's what we're supposed to do. The other thing is, if you think about the way parents are more likely to receive the call from school staff than students. So just like with any other app, the student creates their own account. So the telephone number and the email address and all of that for the parent would be dependent upon whether or not the child put that information into the app. And if that number is changing and all that stuff, so it's just easier, it's safer, it's more consistent for that alert to come to the school staff and for the school staff to contact the parent. Also, as a counselor or a social worker or an administrator, when we contact the parent, we can also talk with you about resources and help guide you, help link you to other things that are out there to assist you with whatever is happening with that student. So it's in our best interest, just like during a normal school day, if a kid is in the building and they're expressing suicide ideation or homicidal ideation, you know, those things come up in the building. That's already a part of our protocol, whether we had alongside or not. That's already a part of it. We've got to reach out to the parent. We can't authorize for children to receive the mental health service, additional services that they might need. We're not the parent. We can't authorize that. So we can't do it without the parent. We have no reason not to contact that parent and make them involved. We need them right at the forefront. But the alert comes to us because, again, we're kind of the constant in terms of, I would also say when that alert goes out for every kid, there are easily probably 5 to 10 people that get that alert. And we opted for that alert to come to our cell phones as a text message, as well as an email to make sure that somebody sees it. So the trend so far, we've received about 7 to 10 alerts and they come at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Friday as school is ending, and on the weekend, late Sunday night, late Saturday morning. And so we all kind of have that paranoia about like, what if we miss it? And so, let's see, me, Christy, Pam, Lisa, my other Pam. So the 5 of us received, at the central office, we received a text message for every one of those alerts. In addition to that, the building principal and their, whoever their backup person was, which is probably assistant principal. So that's 7 people that received a text message and an email every time Kiwi sends an alert. And then we begin to text each other like, did you see it? Did you follow up? Who called? What happened? So we're supporting each other, and we're also making sure that it gets done.
That's amazing.
Yes.
I mean, just the level of support and care that we're providing to our kids, but I like how you really summed it up. Family engagement is key. And we will always connect the parents back to anything that we're doing to support their
right.
children. So,
We're on your team.
yeah, it's a team. It's like we work together.
Yes.
That's the information we don't want to keep.
Yeah.
Right.
Correct. Right.
Good deal.
Correct.
So now I'm gonna call on Dabma Consalvi, just from where she's at in the room. There's a question here in Spanish, and I believe they wanna know if we can share this information in Spanish. And so Dabma, Ms. Consalvi, if you would simply just share from where you're at vocally, just that we look to be able to do a similar session or provide the resources about alongside in Spanish. So it's a relatively new resource, but we hear you. And we will try our very best to provide some of these resources in Spanish.
Para la persona que pidió que se haga esta sesión en español, vamos a proveer los recursos para proveerle la información acerca de esta aplicación. Los vamos a tener en mente y vamos a compartir información con ustedes pronto.
All right, thank you. I know I said a lot there, so you could have taken it and summarized it however you needed to, so thank you for that. Another question for you, Dr. Scott. I'm glad you're sitting beside me. You have all the answers tonight. Thank you for all sharing this information, pertinent information. Is there a sandbox where parents can experiment with conversations with Kiwi to see how they feel about it before the kids use it? Also, is there a way to enable parent notifications? For example, if the parent, principal, and school team is contacted, could it be that the parent is also notified?
So at this time, there is not a place in the app for the parent notification. But we can share that feedback certainly with the developers of the app. And Cumberland County Schools is not the developers of the app. We subscribe to this app, so we don't have that level of control for how it's set up, but I will certainly carry that feedback forward. In fact, real talk, I asked very strongly about that already, like, can Kiwi reach out to the mama? We'll still call, but anyway, it's not designed in that way. And I think, again, they wanted that assuredness. I think they just wanted that assuredness of contacting the school staff, not because we don't have faith in parents, and what they'll do and their love and their concern for their children. But when you think about, again, the way it's set up, the telephone number and the email address and the app would be dependent upon what the child put into the app. But we can program our employee information in there, right? And it's gonna come straight to us. And then what was the first part of the question?
The first part was that, is there a sandbox site where parents can experiment with conversations with Kiwi to see how they feel about it before giving their children permission to use it?
Okay, absolutely. So Cumberland County Schools, we developed our own landing page, if you would, about the Alongside app, which has links to the actual Alongside website. So if you go to our Cumberland County School webpage, and you can find it in multiple places, but if you go to the Cumberland County School website, and across the top, if you click on Family, and you'll see the very first thing listed there is Alongside. If you go to the webpage for your child's school, if you click on Student Services, you'll see Alongside listed there. If you look at the quick links on the bottom left-hand side, you'll see Alongside listed there. there. And from the Alongside website, at the very top in the middle of the page, it says demo the site. So you can create an account and you can use it about 3 times free. And then after that, it'll ask you to contact the vendor, the students. And it is showing now on the screen. This is our landing page for Alongside. And see under the quick links, the very first one you see is an Alongside demo. So you can click on that. And that will allow you to create a sandbox, if you will. Now, this video, we're not going to do it right now, but at a later point, we'll show you the video and it just kind of walks you through how to create your account. And if you scroll down a little bit more, see where it says schedule a live demo. Yep. And when we show the video that we're going to show a little later in today's program, it will also give you a chance to see. This is Ava, and in Ava's video, she shows you what the site looks like, but you can do a demo. Look at the very top in the right in blue where it says see a demo. Yep. So this is how, yep. So thank you. I see the cursor there on how to contact the company in order to schedule a demo so that you can check it out. So you absolutely can do that.
Good deal. So please, if you haven't already, go to the main Cumberland County Schools website. We do have it listed on the front page. A quick link to our Alongside site, because we definitely want everyone to be informed and get all of the information you need prior to allowing your child to use this awesome resource. Now, you know, Dr. Scott, anything new, there's
Yes.
always a learning curve. There's
Yes.
always things and questions and sometimes even misconceptions that folks have. So
Yes.
I want you to just share a little bit more about this groundbreaking resource that we have and any misconceptions that maybe have come to light.
Yes. Okay. So the number one misconception is, you know, it's a balance, right? So as we roll out this app, there are 2 audiences that we're trying to speak to. We want and we need parents to feel comfortable allowing their child to parents, guardians, aunties, grandmamas, whoever is raising and responsible for that student. We want you to feel comfortable that Alongside is something that you don't mind your child engaging with. But we also have to speak to young people, and it needs to be something that young people feel like that they actually want to be a part of, right?
Yep.
So
That is great. And speaking of young people,
Mhm.
I want to hear from Dallas, our students. So let's all turn and look toward Dallas. No pressure, no pressure, but we want a student perspective. We've heard from everyone so far. We've been doing a lot of talking at this table. Good stuff, but we've been doing a lot of talking, but we haven't heard from you, the student voice. So you're currently using the app, is my understanding, and we definitely want to hear from you. My understanding is that you're in the IB Academy at Southview High School, so congratulations to that. What are your thoughts on the Alongside app, and how do you think it can assist other students? Do you mind sharing just some of your experiences?
Well, I think it's a great app. It was very well developed and well put together. And when I got the notification about the app, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is such a great thing. And it was a great opportunity and came right about at the right time for me to use it for my mental health project that I'm working on with the IB Academy. And I think it's a great thing for me to use, especially when you don't have 24 access to a therapist or to someone to talk to. And like, for me, I have anxiety attacks sometimes and late at night, and I don't have that access right then and there to talk to somebody. And the Alongside app was very beneficial for me at that time, late at night and throughout the day or on the weekends or anything. And I think it's very beneficial to students who don't have that contact at home for someone to talk to and stuff. And it has great features like the chat box and the videos and different things on the app that we can take advantage of, because not everyone has these advantages either with the Alongside app. So I think it's really great.
So are you seeing, if you don't mind sharing, are you seeing other students at your school use the app? And I understand you've been an ambassador of sorts. It just, I mean, just tell, you can toot your own horn for a minute. Like, what are some of the things you're doing? How are you getting other students engaged? I think this is just a great learning experience for everyone.
Well, some of the things and tools that we used was we took a week out of March and we made it a whole mental health week and we did different activities with them. And of course, with alongside that, we have a video feature where we can watch different videos of different tasks or different questions that we have. And we took one day where we did yoga exercises and stuff, or a meditation session. And of course, the Alongside app has breathing videos, so we were able to use the Alongside app and do a session in our cafeteria for each lunch period, so they can just breathe and take a moment to just relax. Because the first 2 periods of your day, you're retaining a lot of information and getting a lot of knowledge and stuff. So you just want a moment to just cool off, breathe before you go to your next 2 periods of your day. So the Alongside app was very beneficial for these students to use for breathing exercises or from yoga or different other activities and stuff. So I think it was really well put together.
That's awesome. I'm sold. I just have one question, Dr. Scott. Do they have Alongside for adults? I need Kiwi right now.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, the tea is that staff have been talking to Kiwi. They have been talking to Kiwi, getting strategies and watching videos. Of course, their access is for the purpose of assisting students, but real talk, if I were a practicing school social worker in a building, there's nothing that would prevent me from using my Alongside app if I wanted to, say I was doing a small group or I was talking to some kids about something that was bothering them. I could log into the Alongside app and show a video, that kind of thing. But I have also heard staff talk about how, no, I was nervous about something I was working on, and that they actually talked to Kiwi and got some ideas about some things that they were going through as well. So staff have been using it.
That's awesome. So let's dive a bit further into those misconceptions, because once again, this is great. We're seeing great things. We're hearing great feedback, but we have to talk about some of the things that people are like, I'm not too sure about. Can you clarify some of that for us?
Yep, the number one is confidentiality. Students are concerned about how much people can see and will be into their business and what we're gonna be sharing. I think we've probably said a lot already throughout the show to demonstrate that Alongside is confidential, and that the only thing that we're looking at is when we get those alerts, when Kiwi alerts us to suicide, child abuse, and homicide. So the confidentiality piece is absolutely there. The other misconception that we hear is, I don't want my kid talking to AI or talking to ChatGPT. And so I think you're hearing about AI every morning on Good Morning America and all over the news. And we're all trying to figure out exactly what is AI and how it fits in the fabric of our lives. So only a very small amount of AI technology is being used in Alongside. So one of the things that's really brilliant about it is that Kiwi has the look and feel like he is having an actual conversation. But if students go off topic and say they want to ask Kiwi how to do your math homework, Kiwi does not know how to respond to that. And he says so.
Oh, man.
Or if you ask him, even if you ask him how he's doing, I don't know what Kiwi is, but if you ask the llama how he's doing, he's not programmed to respond to that. Kiwi actually is programmed by doctoral clinicians to complete exercises. These exercises are so Kiwi keeps you very focused, and he keeps pulling the student back to whatever that topic is. So where the AI comes in is all that filtering that's happening behind the scenes. AI is how Kiwi knows when to contact the school staff, and it's how Kiwi knows which particular exercise to give to that student. So they're not sitting and talking to a robot or talking to a ChatGPT having a counseling session. They're actually completing an exercise that is designed to teach the young person some tools that they may not already know, or help them pull into some tools that they already have but may not be utilizing. That tool could be going and talking to a trusted adult. It might be showing a video on how to do some breathing exercises. It might be helping them to prioritize an assignment that they're working on, and how do you break that into smaller pieces so you can get it done, like prioritizing the assignment but not doing the assignment. So those are the really big ones. And then I guess the third one would be, which has come up in the questions, is expectation or curiosity about why the app doesn't contact the parents directly. The app is contacting school staff because the parent really needs to talk to another adult that can then provide some guidance and accurate information about what to do next. So the app does not contact parents, the app contacts us. The only way that the app would contact the parent would be the student would have to give the app the parent's number and all that kind of stuff, right? So that's why the app contacts the school staff. So those are the three big ones.
Okay, good deal. So, thank you. So we want to go back to you, Dallas. You gave such a great answer. Can you share some success stories? You've already shared some, or even personal experiences that really highlight the positive impact of using alongside. Anything you wish to share?
That's a tough question. I really don't have anything else to share about my personal experiences with it. But I mean, other students have reached back out and said that they thought it was a really good app and that they really enjoyed talking to it. And there's some problems sometimes that they have getting into the app, but for the most part, everybody's been telling me that they enjoy it and that it's a really good app. A teacher told me, she was like, I logged into my son's account to use it and stuff because I really enjoyed it herself. So I really think it's really working out at our school in Southfield.
Thank you, thank you. Now, Ms. Walters, a hot topic tonight has been confidentiality. And so from the parent perspective, I'm sure that was on your mind as well. Can you share your thoughts on confidentiality and kind of how you arrived to the point where you're at today?
Well, being that my children have been with CCS from all the way from kindergarten, we have been blessed to have caring teachers that always knew how to contact me, and the support staff and administrators that had that connection with my children. So I think that knowing that when triggers are there, they're going to contact the school, and the schools always know how to contact us. They will find a way to contact us. And that's part of having that faith, that trust in the district, and knowing that if I need to be involved, I will be involved. And I know that my children know that that open line of communication is always there, but there are things that I know that they're not going to talk to me about. They might talk to their friends, they might talk to their teachers, but having Kiwi is just that added tool. That's just someone else for them to talk to, because it takes a village. It takes all of us working together. And when we work together, we're not only setting our children up for success now, we're showing them the skills they need as they become adults.
Good deal. Thank you for that. I like that. The only reason why we have alongside is to help our students. There's really no other reason. So it's a trusted resource. Now, Ms. Leviner, as we think about this app, as we think about the misconceptions, and even some other school staff may be watching tonight, what are some of the things you're doing at your school to just raise awareness and to share accurate information about alongside?
So, being a middle school counselor, we have the opportunity to work directly with students in individual counseling sessions a whole lot more at our level than I think that we, high school and elementary. And so we're very lucky that in those conversations, when students are expressing things or talking about things, we're able to say, hey, have you ever, remember when we talked about this, or remember when we talked about Kiwi during our assembly? So what we did initially is we did an assembly with each grade level, and we presented Kiwi up on the screen, and we showed them, the little demo and how to sign up in the videos. And we have Kiwi on like a rolling little cart, so she rolls around the school, and so the kids are able to constantly see her. And we started with that initially. We had a parent night where we had an alongside table, and parents were able to come in and see the table when they first walked in, so they can ask questions, have everything right there. They can actually sign up there at that time, or sign their student up there. But in our group counseling sessions, because all of us, all three of us, because we have 3 counselors in our building, we do small groups. So in those small groups, we utilize videos and resources from alongside, which is wonderful, like the things Dallas was talking about, like the breathing exercises and things. Even when we do classroom guidance lessons, we pull that up and they see it and they see Kiwi, like Kiwi's posted outside of our doors, like the QR code is there for kids to look at. So she's always around. And so just constantly making sure, maybe just marketing Kiwi, you know, making sure that they see it, but constantly reminding them. And then they ask for the permission slips again. We passed them all out, of course, for parents to fill out, but the kids are starting to bring them back. And as more kids are kind of starting to talk about like, hey, I used this, or this is what I did, other kids are coming and saying, you know, Miss Laviner, can I have another one of those? Or can I do this? Can I do that? And then promoting on our social media and things as well in the building. But I think what the key is whenever we're having those individual sessions, because we can see 20, 25 kids a day, depending on the day, we are talking about this, and it's something that we're saying, hey, you know, use this while, this is a resource for you on break or whenever we're not around, or you can't see us, or I'm not answering your email at 7:00 at night because, I'm with my family. There's things that you can utilize until you can get to me the next morning. So just trying to teach them, to utilize the resources that you have at your disposal for one, but also, Kiwi and alongside does such a great job of helping with emotional regulation. So in those moments where they're feeling that, they can talk to Kiwi and she can offer this or she can offer that. And with parents, the misconceptions that Dr. Scott was talking about, has been a lot of questions that I received from parents. I don't want my child to talk to the bot, essentially. That's what I get a lot when I talk to parents. And I reassure them that there's nothing, your conversation is not, Kiwi is not going to gear the conversation towards anything else. They're going to bring it back. And that is reassuring. And for me as a parent as well, because I have 3 children in Cumberland County schools, and I have one that will go to middle school next year. And this will be offered to him, knowing that it makes me feel a whole lot better as a parent to know that he can't go off and talk about things that, he hasn't necessarily been exposed to, because, you want to keep your kids safe, and it's as safe and as innocent as you can for as long as you can. And that was reassuring to me to know that if he chooses to utilize this resource, there's nothing there that's gonna be something that, I can't necessarily, I can't control it, but Kiwi's not gonna lead him astray, I guess, if that makes any sense. But it's been wonderful. The kids are really liking it, so. Especially when Kiwi rolls into the next room or she's somewhere by the bathroom and they're like, why is Kiwi here? So anyway.
Good deal. It sounds like you're doing some very creative work at your school to introduce this to your community. So thank you for all of those efforts. Now, Ms. Thomas, from your perspective as a social worker, how is, alongside somewhat changing the game at your school, like how are you using it in your role, and how are you introducing it to your school community?
As far as introducing it to the school community, our administration has been wonderful, and they jumped right in when we brought it and presented it to them and said, let's kick this off. We met with all of our first period students, because everyone has first period, showed the videos, gave the permission slips, and we immediately started getting the feedback. I will toot our horn, because Jack Britt was like the first one to have the most, permission slips back, and kids were wanting it. I know that they feel the need. This is something that's a safe environment. But as a school social worker, the thing that I have found most beneficial, well, actually 2 things, is when I log into the app, I see what the topics that are hot for the kids that they're addressing. Should it be the anxiety or relationship situation or stress about exams? It can be anything, but it's telling you what they're talking about. So then we know as a guidance department what we need to do next, what we need to talk to administration about of targeting, some program that we may need to address here at Jack Britt. And I think the mood tracker is one thing that I got very excited about, because it also talks to those kids about, well, how much sleep did you get last night? What have you eaten? And these are things that teenagers don't think about, but but really enhance how they're feeling every day. And if they start looking at that and getting that other information back, it gives a clearer picture of, oh, I do need to take better care of my physical self to help my mental self.
Good deal. So it sounds like y'all are doing some
Yes.
creative things as well at your
Trying
school.
to.
Thank
Next
you.
year, we're excited and we're gonna kick it off even more.
I just think the more that we can share best practices, once again, this is so new. And I think just as we find out what's working at one school, we don't wanna keep that, right? We wanna share it with others so
That's
that
right.
we can amplify
Yes,
the impact.
yes, absolutely.
All right, good deal. We're gonna go back to our Facebook audience. I believe we have a couple more questions here in the chat. Is the usage of the app optional for students or all must register? Dr. Scott?
It's optional and students can only use the app with parent permission. So, so you get to decide, moms and dads, aunties, uncles, you know, whoever the legal guardian is. So it is optional.
All right, and one more question we have. Could the students also share concerns or feelings about bullying in that app? Could the app create alerts to that kind of issue?
That is not currently set up to do that, but again, I'm in constant communication with the vendor and I can certainly pass that along. Honestly, I believe that they are watching the show right now, so I believe they're getting this feedback as we're talking about it, but I will pass that along to them. There is a part of the app where a student can send a direct message to their counselor or their school support team. There's also a place in the app where they can request a meeting with their counselor or the school support team. So I would say that would be their best bet for if they wanted to use Kiwi as an avenue or the alongside app to share that kind of information, is to send a direct message to the counselor or request a meeting.
All right, good deal. Thank you. We really appreciate your questions tonight. If you're just joining us, we're here tonight talking about the Alongside app that we have here in Cumberland County Schools, where we are truly promoting the wellness and the well-being of all of our students here. At this time, we're just very excited about just the feedback, the enthusiasm, and everything that's been done. So we're a couple of months in to this launch of the Alongside app. I've seen it on billboards, I've seen it on Facebook, I've seen it on social media, it's on the radio. And
Yes.
so how are we doing, Dr. Scott? So as we look at the data, how's the tools being used? Are there any analytics that you can share with us?
We do have some analytics, so I'm gonna share some, let you see some of the student feedback and also let you look at some of the numbers. My favorite thing to look at are these comments from students. So students say things like, I like the fact that you assess the situation, but I was kind of cut off. Still kind of sad, but you helped me to calm down. And you're like, why would you share that comment? Because what I believe happened here is when the student says that I was cut off, remember we said Kiwi has some guardrails up. So you can't just go in there and talk to Kiwi about the basketball game and your homework assignment and all that other stuff. You know, you're not just sitting talking to a robot or ChatGPT. Kiwi is very focused on walking you through. Once he figures out what the topic is, Kiwi stays focused on that topic. So that's what I think the young person is referring to with the cutoff. And so I want to share that because I think it just kind of demonstrates what I'm saying to be true and accurate. Some other comments are how you helped me through my negative procrastination, that it's easy to be able to talk and for someone to understand yet give advice, the positive messages. Look at the first one on the right in all caps. This was amazing. Understood how I felt. I love that. I like the fact that you sat here and talked me through the situation and you didn't judge everything. I love this app or website. I have a nickname for you. I liked how helpful you was and making me feel like it's a safe place to talk. about things I'm struggling with. It was all good. So I can go on and on, but this is direct feedback from students about using the app. And now I'll scroll down a little more, and this very first section here of the summary. So there are 198 students that are actively utilizing the account. And of those students, 92 of them, or a little more than half, have are repeat users of the app. And then app helpfulness, students rate the helpfulness of the activities as a 90.6. And so for me, that is also arrows pointing in the right direction. It tells me that when students create the app and actually begin to use it, they come back to it. So that's a positive thing. And then how high they rate the activities. Another thing that I would share is, let's see, where it says engagement details, people find this very interesting. So in terms of engagement details, chats by issue, this is what Ms. Thomas was talking about when she said, you don't have to, when she mentioned, we can see what the kids or what the hot topics are for students. So I want you to also notice that this is from a very high level. It's summative type information. So we're looking in the backside of it, and you don't see any student names or any specific student information. It's just a summary. So this is what we see every day. But if you'd like to know what are the top 5 things that students are talking to Kiwi about, friendships, family, peers, that there's too much going on, and relationships. And I also think it's significant that after relationships, if you think about what's in the top 10, look how often school-related issues come up. Schoolwork, grades and tests, schoolwork, grades and tests. There's a couple more in there. And school. So in that top 10, you see school show up 3 times in terms of the top 10. So a lot of what kids are talking about that they're concerned about, and there are a lot of other things in there, home life and so forth, but that's what the top 5 to 10 things are that students are talking about. The mood tracker. The mood tracker is very interesting. And again, it's interesting to see that over 50% of the students said their mood was just, okay, but only about 16% said they were great, right? And 39% said they were not good. Now go to the next one, the videos. So we can see where students are spending their time in terms of watching videos. And for the entire month, box breathing has been the #1 video. So much so, as adults, we've been trying to figure out what is box breathing. So we did log on to Kiwi and watch the box breathing video. It's about 2 minutes long, and it is a deep breathing technique that is actually extremely popular. So, again, just all good stuff. That one, the third one there, My Mental Health Journey by Billy somebody, some famous person who shares their mental health journey. That one is also interesting too, where someone is just, this particular person is sharing what that's been like for them. So these are the videos that they're watching. On the next one, Journaling by Prompt. I think that one was one that I had a question about in terms of, do kids still journal? Like when we were kids, that was a thing, right? You had the very pretty journal, the nice journal. Boys had the marble colored notebooks, and that was a thing to be able to journal. We did that a lot, but I wondered if young people still do that, and they do. And I think it's also interesting, while Kiwi provides a lot of prompts that they can utilize, and they do, but you'll see 25%, the majority of them are creating their own prompts and writing about things that they determine on their own. But some of the things that they're writing about, the prompts, again, parents who are thinking about, well, what is Kiwi asking them about? So an example is, what are 5 things that put a smile on your face? What is your favorite location in your home and why? When was the last time you laughed so hard that your stomach hurt? So this is all very, very, very wholesome, PC kinds of things that Kiwi is talking about. And then the last We mentioned the mood tracker, that very last set of panel all across the bottom. This data here comes specifically from the mood tracker. And look at the hours of sleep. And when we looked at that, myself, my counseling coordinator and my psychologist, when we looked at that data, it actually made us think that kids aren't sleeping, that they're up doing all kinds of other things, probably scrolling, and scrolling on those phones and on social media and playing video games. But that was a thing that we looked at and we're concerned about, was the amount of sleep that young people are or are not getting. And then look at their quality of eating. Most of them said they are only somewhat eating healthy. And I like how Ms. Thomas said earlier that the mood tracker allows students to see what's happening with their physical health, which also has an immediate impact on your mental health. And then the last thing, the minutes of exercise. Look at that one. I haven't exercised at all, over 50%. Okay, I am she. But I'm working on it. I'm working on it. It's a continuum. I'm working on it. Me and Kiwi, we're working on it together. And then the last thing that I would share about it is towards the top, it does kind of break down right beside the go up. Okay, it's not showing here. But out of all the things that you can do in the app, the number one thing that students are doing is chatting with Kiwi. The next thing is the mood tracker, and then the third most popular thing are creating goals. And I like the creation of goals, because if you have something specific that you're working on, or take the IB project, this massive project that Dallas and his colleagues are working on, and it has multiple pieces to it and deadlines, and you're trying to juggle that and just all of the things that you have to do in life. I like the fact that they can utilize Kiwi to set some goals around how they're going to get those things done and receive some reminders about what they put in place. So that's what it looks like on the back end. Students, those 198 students, Dr. Whitley, they have completed over 1,000 activities.
Wow.
Over 1,000 activities. So where we need parents to help us, over 700 parents have given permission for their student to utilize the app. But you see that only, at the time that I made the slide, about 195 students were actively using the app. Right? So that's what we need parents, when you say your young person can use the app, also help them to go ahead and take that next step to create the login and get started with it.
Wow.
So that's what I got.
That's amazing. Just seeing all of those resources that students have at their fingertips is simply amazing. I just want to applaud you and your team, Dr. Scott. This is just amazing. I don't really know of any other school districts in North Carolina that's doing this.
There's not. We're
So,
number one.
Y'all are truly leading the way.
Yep.
And our students are the beneficiaries.
Yep.
So
We're
on behalf
trying.
of everybody, I just want to say thank you. This is very important work. So we're about to wrap up tonight, and we just want to give everybody a chance to share some closing comments, and we're going to begin with Dallas, and we'll just kind of go down the line. As we're thinking about this tool recapping, I imagine there are some people who are online right now, and they may still be on the fence about whether they want to, partake in this alongside apps. So any closing comments you wish to share at this time?
I feel like everybody got great feedback and great insights, some things that I didn't know, and I can go back and share with my classmates and peers about the app. And I really strongly dislike that I won't be able to continue working with this app after this year because I'm graduating. But it was great working with it, with this opportunity, and I really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much.
Thank
I'm loving that Dr. Scott talked about the goal setting, being a parent of an AIG child who is also ADHD. You have that tons of work, and the goal setting was able to sit there and say, this is what we need to get done, and this is the time frame you need to get it done in, and we were able to work together. Now, I have to say, Kiwi pretty much gave the same advice that I did, but because it came from Kiwi, it was received completely differently. It was like, I was like, didn't Mom just say that? So, but yeah, Kiwi had it, I don't know what the spin was, but it worked. I really like that. I like being able to look at the tools, and there is a lot of tools in there, so that, I mean, you just have to go in there and probe and see what you can find the one that works best.
Yes.
Good deal. Ms. Leviner.
I am really excited because it's very innovative.
Yeah.
So it's something that the kids are gonna want to use, just like Dr. Scott said, they're already using apps on their phone all the time, and they're always on their phones, cause I have a teenager myself, so they're always on their phones, they always have their phones, so it's at their disposal. But also too, I'm really excited for the Student Services Department. I think it's gonna be an excellent resource for us to reach more students. Because our days can be so busy and so chaotic that we're able to see, and the students can let us know things and just kind of bridge that gap sometimes with students who don't really feel comfortable coming to us at first, but they can opt to see like what they're talking about. So I'm just really excited about what it can do for our department.
That's awesome.
Oh, okay. No, my biggest thing is having children learn skills now that they can take into college and adulthood. The sooner you learn them and master them, your life becomes so much easier. And that is what I see this program being able to help children with.
That is awesome. And last but certainly not least, Dr. Scott, closing remarks.
So I'm gonna kind of pick up where Ms. Thomas left off and just simply say, everybody goes through and is going through something.
Yes.
And so we've spent a lot of time throughout the show using the term mental health. And we know that there is a stigma attached to that terminology. And so the closing remarks that I want to remind is that mental health is a continuum. That mental health, using the app, talking to Kiwi, doing journals, learning how to do deep breathing, it does not mean that you're crazy. It does not mean that you have a mental illness or that something is wrong with you. Everybody goes through something. Everybody has a rough day. And when those days happen, you've got to have a set of tools that you can pull from to deal with that, so that you don't, kind of lose your ish, while you're on the job or in the classroom or you're doing a presentation. So, and we all have to work through that. And that is all Kiwi is trying to do, is equip young people with the tools that they can use later in life. Sometimes the school counselor or the social worker or whoever that caring adult is available. Alongside is not meant to replace the parent. Kiwi is meant to work alongside the parent, that caring adult, whether it's someone at school, someone at church, or someone in the home. But I just think that it's important to lift up the fact that mental health is a continuum, and it does not mean that you are crazy or that you have an illness or some type of diagnosis. And I often wonder about how much the mental health stigma, when you have over 700 parents saying, yes, my child can use it, but you have 200 young people who are actively using the account, I wonder how much those kind of thoughts are going in their mind. And I just want young people to know that it's okay to not be okay. You can have a bad day every once in a while. It's just all about how you go through it. And then you get up to fight another day. That's all it is. It's okay to not be okay every day. You don't have to have that perfect life that you see on Instagram and on Facebook. Those people are not living like that either. They have rough days too, and they doing box breathing and journaling and all that kind of stuff. So go ahead and let that be a cool thing too, to take care of your mental health, just like you do with your physical health.
Thank you so much, Dr. Scott. So if you're wondering how to get connected with the Alongside app, I'm gonna ask technology to put that slide on the screen, and Dr. Scott will briefly take us through this slide, getting started with Alongside, and I think there's a short video that you want to share as well.
Yes, and we'll start with the video and let it do the majority of the talking. It's only about 2 minutes.
Hey there, I'm Ava, and welcome to the Alongside app, a mental health resource for teens. It's available 24/7, private and confidential, and the activities, exercises, and chats were developed by a team of therapists who work with teens. I'm so excited for you to learn more about it. One of my favorite features in Alongside is the chat feature. It's great to have a space where I can privately talk about whatever I'm going through at any time I need to. Here's how to use it. Once you open up the chat feature, you can start typing how you're feeling. And if you're not exactly sure, no worries. Kiwi's there to help. Remember, this is a judgment-free zone, so feel free to share as much or as little as you like. If you're having a serious mental health crisis, or you talk about harming yourself, others, or you're being abused or harassed, Olama will help alert a school counselor or after-hours support. You may have questions to answer and a link to call or text 988. And we will share the answer to those questions with your counselor with your name and email. That way, we can make sure you stay safe and have access to the support and help you need. Outside of the chat, there are plenty of other activities such as journaling, educational videos, breathing exercises, and more. You can even request a meeting with your school counselor right from the app. Let's sign up together. First, either access the app on your school device or enter the URL in your browser, app.alongside.care. Then, select the appropriate button to sign in with your school email account. Now you're in the app and can look at all the features we talked about. I recommend bookmarking the app for easy access. Thanks for following along and have fun exploring the app.
So Ava did a great job of very concisely giving a quick overview of the app and also giving you the website that you put in your browser in order to sign up. But I just want to add to what Ava has already shared a couple things. One, that in Cumberland County Schools, parent permission is required in order to utilize the app. So parents, please be assured, if students attempt to sign up without your permission, it actually won't allow them to go further than putting in their name and email address. It directs them, it lets them know that parent permission is needed. So if we haven't received a parent permission form from you, your young person can't go any further. If you want to provide parent permission, you can do that one of two ways. You can do it through a digital format. So on that Cumberland County School webpage, or you can contact the school and have them to send the link to you. It's just a simple Google form that you fill out to let us know that you give permission. Or if you're old school and you want the paper and pen, then you can, we can print off the form for you, or you can download it from your own computer, download it, print it, fill it out, sign it, send it back to the school, and we'll take care of sending it to the vendor. And once the form is submitted, the student will receive a welcome email from Alongside. And then once they receive that welcome email, they set up their account and they're good to go. Those emails typically come out in about 24 hours. So if you haven't received the email and you set up an account, just reach out to someone at your school so we can take care of that. Dallas actually did that for us, and that's how we figured out that our firewall initially was preventing the emails from getting through to our students. So we had to contact Mr. Young and say, hey, please let these emails go to our young people. And so he did take care of that. Thank you, Dallas, for contacting us. And that's how we figured out that we had a problem. But it's just that simple to sign up. And if can they see this on the screen? Can they see my slide?
You can put that slide back on the screen, yes.
Okay, if you put the slide on the screen, there's a QR code there. So they can also take their device and scan that QR code, and that will also take them to the Getting Started with Alongside. There's a QR code there in the bottom right-hand side of the page. You can use your device to scan that QR code, and that will also take you to how to sign up.
Good deal. Well, I just want to say thank you, everyone who is watching tonight. A very, very, very important topic. I know that you found something useful. I just want to thank each of the panelists. Each of you brought a very rich perspective to tonight's conversation. And tonight we just wanted to share more information with you about this Alongside app. If perhaps you missed tonight's session, please go back to our Cumberland County Schools Facebook page and you can watch the entire session in its entirety. So once again, thank you so very much for watching. I want to share a few announcements with you as we close tonight. We would like to take this opportunity to invite you to the It's Okay to Ask Children's Mental Health Fair that will take place on Saturday, May 4th. 2024 at Festival Park, located at 335 Ray Street in Fayetteville. It will take place from 8 a.m. until 11 a.m. There will be a walk for suicide prevention, a DJ, food trucks, games, live fitness presentations, community resources, tech prizes, and more. I was there last year and it was awesome. I know it'll be even better this year. Also, if you enjoyed tonight's session, we invite you to join us for our Cumberland Family Academy Facebook Live session titled Kindergarten Showcase 2024. This Facebook Live session led by Dr. Teresa Perry, our CCS Executive Director of K-12 Academic and Instructional Systems, and her team will be held next week on Thursday, April 18th at 6 p.m. The session is for new kindergarten students and their families to learn about Kindergarten Showcase 2024, including 2 district-wide in-person kindergarten orientation nights. Please join us for this session to learn all about kindergarten registration and everything you need to know as a family. We want you to be prepared for this important milestone in your child's life. Once again, thank you so much for watching this evening, and we hope that